born, and for this reason came I into the world, that I may bear witness to the truth. And what is the truth? The truth, as Jesus said in John chapter 17:17, he says, Father, sanctify them with thy truth. Thy word is truth. So we've been called to bear witness to the truth, which is the word of God. And today I bear witness that the word of God, that God himself has prepared this day for you. The day is supposed to serve you. So go out and dominate it, rule it, be a blessing to people, and impact lives, because that's what you've been called to do. Let your words, the words that come out of your mouth, be words that bring life, not that words that destroy people. Let them impact grace in the ear of the hearers, and then you'll have done what God called you to do for this day. Isn't that beautiful? Awesome stuff. Remember, later on in the day, we'll have Your Faith Today with Reverend Kavoy, and great mysteries of faith being ministered to even as we get close to the International Faith Summit. All right? Okay, let's start it off. The Kenya Human Rights Commission has called for the scrapping of Kenya Kwanza Administration Financial Inclusion Fund, also known as Hustler Fund. In a report released yesterday, the Kenya Human Rights Commission warned that the program is a recipe for financial failure, as it lacks a sustainable plan to empower Kenyans at the bottom of the pyramid as earlier intended. According to the rights body, scrapping the program is the only viable option for the Kenya government, as reforming or re-engineering the fund will not address the fundamental design, political, and legal flaws that have haunted it since its inception in November 2022. In the 2025-2026 budget, Treasury allocated 300 million to the fund, down from 5 billion in the financial year 2024-2025, and Kenya shilling 10 billion in the 2023-2024 financial year.
You'll find that it clearly states that there is established, it echoes the words of Article 206 of the Constitution that there is a consolidated fund into which all money raised by Parliament, by government, shall be vested in, except money that is reasonably excluded from the fund to be paid in another fund by Parliament. And now, it is Parliament supposed to be doing this work on every fund, not telling the Minister, Cabinet Secretary, that you have surrendered our power to you, you can set up whatever fund you want. That is irresponsible legislation by Parliament. It's lazy. Parliament is being lazy. It is saying, okay, let us just give you the power to do that.
And when you talk about Hustler Fund, the conversation around Hustler Fund, it's not a complete conversation if it does not take the direction of the young Kenyan man and woman. Because the narrative around it was to improve the position of the Kenyan youth, at least on paper. But here we are.
The position that is managing those funds need to do a lot of checkups with themselves, because most of the things we have requested were not available, and some of the data we have been shown right now by KNHCR is true.
Why do we continue to put money in a fund, yet we cannot fund basic needs like education and health?
Now, the Ministry of Health has launched nationwide biometric registration through which patients seeking social health security or health authority services will be identified. President William Ruto said the SMS code used to identify patients will no longer be used because it has become susceptible to fraud. The use of biometrics at level 4 sub-county, level 5 county referral, and level 6 national hospitals is aimed at enhancing patient identification and getting rid of fraud and fake claims that threaten the health sector. Addressing a leaders delegation from Tharaka Nithi County at State House, Nairobi, the President Ruto said biometric registration for services at level 2 dispensaries and level 3 health centers facilities will be done later.
Leo waziri ambaye anahusika na mambo ya afya Bwana Duale anaanzisha ile biometric identification of Kenyans. Today, leo tarehe 4, Wizara ya Afya inaanzisha rasmi kwa level 4, level 5, level 6 biometric identification of citizens who are going to seek for treatment, so that we can positively identify every citizen and we can get rid of fraud and fake claims that have threatened our healthcare system for far too long. Tukimaliza sasa, hiyo ndio awamu ya kwanza. Awamu ya pili tutaenda kwa level 3 and level 2. Alafu sasa tutawafungia wakora wote nje. Ile pesa tutakuwa tunalipa every facility, tutakuwa tunalipa pesa ambayo wametumia kutibu wa Kenya. Sasa ukienda pale kama Mkenya, utakuwa na kitambulisho yako na kwa fingerprints utaweka pale, utafinya fingerprint, tutajua wewe ni fulani. Halafu tutakutibu na hakuna mtu tena atatuibia pesa, kwa sababu ile NHIF ilikuwa na matatizo makubwa sana ya wizi. Mnanielewa? Ile NHIF ilikuwa na wizi. Ndio wakati tulikuwa tunafunga NHIF ilikuwa na madeni ya shilingi bilioni 30 ambayo ilikuwa inaongezeka kila mwezi. Hospitali zingine, kwanza moja ilikuwa kwetu huko Eldoret. Hospitali ilikuwa na madaktari wachache na accountants wengi.
You know, initially I didn't quite understand why private hospitals were having issues with SHA, but then later on I did get to understand. Because in one particular case of a major hospital in Kenya, a private hospital, it had claimed it had 600 bed capacity, but in actual sense it has 300. So it was, you know, every time they make claims above 300, that was money that they were getting free of charge because they don't have any bed capacity above that. So I understand when the government starts saying that we've got to take our biometrics so that nobody's claiming that you know, you're in that hospital without that biometric being, you know, put there. So I totally agree and understand where the president is coming from. Now, President William Ruto has assured the leaders from the area, that is Tharaka Nithi, that he will fulfill the promise of constructing the Nithi Bridge, which has over the years claimed the lives of hundreds of people. While at State House, the president admitted the expensive cost of constructing the bridge at 7 billion. Nithi Bridge has over the years been considered a black spot, haunting travelers along the Meru-Embu Road.
Muliniambia mahali tutakosania na nyinyi ni hii Nithi Bridge. Si muliniambia hivyo? Muliniambia hii tengeneza hii Nithi Bridge ama tutakosana. Na nilisikia. So hii Nithi Bridge mimi nitatengeneza. Mnanisikia? Hii Nithi Bridge mimi nitatengeneza. Inahitaji shilingi bilioni 7, ni pesa nyingi. Lakini juu chini, kulia na kushoto, mbele na nyuma, lazima nitengeneze hiyo bridge. Na hiyo bridge inatangazwa kesho. Mkifuatilia katika vyombo vya habari ama ile procurement, we are starting procurement ya Nithi Bridge tomorrow. Na sio kwa sababu mmekuja hapa, hapana. Ni kwa sababu muliniambia iko consequences. Si ndio? So hiyo bridge tayari tumefanya design Mimi nimeangalia mwenyewe, hiyo design iko sawa sawa. Sasa itanyorosha hiyo Nithi Bridge, badala ya kupiga kona kona ndio watu wanazama ndani, tutanyorosha vizuri. Sawa sawa. Na nimesema hiyo bridge lazima ikamilike kabla ya uchaguzi. Mimi sitaki.
Now, I've driven along that route, and let me tell you something. If you drive along the Nithi, and as you're approaching the Nithi Bridge, if it's the first time you've driven along that road, it is the most harrowing thing you can ever experience. Because all of a sudden you start noticing down there's a bridge, and the road goes down and then takes a curve. And so if anything happens to your vehicle as you're going down, oh man, you're going to have a very difficult time. And then on the other side, there are vehicles that are coming up, coming down to take the turn at the Nithi and then start going up. So it's a crazy situation, and I hope that we live long enough to see that bridge done. Now, police in Kitui have launched a manhunt after an officer allegedly killed his girlfriend and another woman at a bar in Kanyonyo Market before fleeing into nearby thickets. The suspect, identified as Police Constable Bernard Siambe, was assigned to the report office at Kanyonyo Police Station, but reportedly sneaked out with an AK-47 rifle loaded with 30 rounds of ammunition. Mutisia sought refuge in a nearby plot, but was pursued by the officer who shot and killed her inside the house of a woman identified as Janet Ndanu. He also shot another woman, Judy, whose full name and age are yet to be confirmed.
Wakati nilifika hapo nilikuta wanawake wawili walipigwa risasi na wakakufa hapo hapo. Mmoja anaitwa Judy Nyigama ndiye alisababisha hiyo kitendo, juu alikuwa rafiki ya huyo askari, na imesemekana walianza vurugu asubuhi. Hakuna mtu hana makosa, maybe kama ni urafiki watu wanaachana tu na tafuta mtu mwingine. Pia sio watu ati wamekaa, sio watu wamewana. Huyo askari hata wakati alikuja hapa hana miezi 4 hapa Kanyonyo, hata huyo Judy hata hana mwezi, hakuna mtu ako na nyumba hapa, wote ni kama wageni.
Judy alikuanga rafiki yangu. Kama rafiki sijafurahia sana kuona dadangu ametenda kinyama. So mimi ninasema ni hata kama uko urafiki na mtu alafu mkosane, si lazima umuue. So venye amefanyia vibaya. Pia ameacha mtoto wa miaka 4 na mimi naumia sana juu huyu mtoto sijinda mama.
It is so sad. The National Police Service needs to organize something for these officers, because this is something that has become so common within the police service. Just the other day, there's a police officer who took a gun and killed a number of officers, and then before shooting himself. Before then, there was another one who had shot his boss, but was taken down by his colleagues. So there is something that needs to be done for the police officers, and probably they're still suffering from trauma, you know, after going through. When you're as a police officer, you experience a lot of things. You're the one who's called upon to go and collect bodies of individuals who've been run over by vehicles. You're the one who experiences all kinds of crazy stuff. And I don't know whether they have a debriefing moment to deal with whatever it is that they experience. So when you meet them in the streets and it's a demonstration, you're literally dealing with people who are traumatized in the first place. And so shooting you becomes a very easy thing for them. Now, later on, we'll be looking at a couple of stories from the Education Ministry. If you check out the Standard today, the Standard has spoken about, the power struggles that are currently going on in the Education Ministry. But right now, the CS, Julius Ogamba, has reaffirmed government's efforts to deliver inclusive, accessible education. During a visit to Limbine Primary School in Meru, Ogamba said that the new education system will roll out fully by 2029. The ministry has allocated 1.4 billion shillings for the classrooms and infrastructure upgrade to support CBC implementation.
Infrastructure development from the ministry was not sufficient, and last year and the other year there wasn't a component of infrastructure development figures because of the issues relating to the finance bill, and you're aware of that. But this year we've gotten 1.3 billion to do infrastructure, and what we are doing, we are analyzing the most needy schools, including those ones. I think there are about 42 from Tharaka-Nithi that we've received, and we'll work around ensuring that we improve them sufficiently in the next few years so that they are done.
Of Citizens of the Future program, that is an initiative of M-Pesa Foundation. And what is going to happen here is to renovate classrooms whose structures are still strong, and put up new classrooms that are required to be able to implement the CBE. We are going to put a science and ICT lab fully equipped. We are also putting in a new admin block.
Now, a rare public clash unfolded at a burial ceremony in Siaya County as Kenya National Union of Teachers, NUT Secretary General Collins Oyu and Safina Party Deputy Leader Willis Otieno sharply differed on the recently signed 2025-2029 Collective Bargaining Agreement, or CBA, for teachers. The disagreement came on during speeches at the funeral of a retired educationist, where both leaders addressed teachers' welfare in light of the newly negotiated deal with the Teachers Service Commission. Oyu defended the CBA, saying it represented progress in a tough economic climate. However, lawyer and politician Willis Otieno criticized the agreement as inadequate and an insult to the teaching profession.
Prioritizing education in this country, we must appreciate the government of this country. For the first time, employment of teachers in this republic has hit a whopping 76,000 in a record 2 years. We really appreciate as Kenya National Union of Teachers. As we look at the 76,000, we also want to appreciate the 2.4 billion that has been awarded in the budget for employment of another 24,000 teachers to start teaching in schools by January 2026. It is true that teacher shortage in this country is one thing that we cannot underrate.
Our teachers deserve better. The salary increment to teachers per teacher comes to 200 Kenya shillings per teacher. That is a mockery to the role that teachers are playing. I urge our teachers to receive it, but you must ask for more. Because a better teacher, a well-enumerated teacher, guarantees a better student. And the government, you have a responsibility to make sure that capitation to schools is released on time. And it must be per student, not just an average. The second thing that we are saying, on schools, we are demanding, we are not requesting that free primary education cannot go away. Our students must study for free, and we condemn the proposal by some members of the executive to reduce capitation to our schools.
Now, this is a governor who's been quiet for a very long time. I'm talking about Bungoma Governor Ken Lusaka, who led other leaders in the county in mourning the death of Chwele Kabuchai Ward Representative James Barasa Muhongo, who passed away early Monday while receiving treatment at Hopkins Hospital in Bungoma. Governor Lusaka described Muhongo as a hardworking leader who had good cooperation both inside and outside the Bungoma Assembly. Barasa Muhongo passed away after a short illness. His body has been kept at the Life Care Bungoma morgue until his death. Muhongo had served 5 times as a councillor and 3 times as a ward representative.
Muhongo mimi nimemjua tangu niwe governor wa kwanza 2013 to 2017. Tulifanya na yeye kazi vizuri. Tumesafiri na yeye kwenda ng'ambo. Ni mtu ambaye alikuwa mchangamufu sana, mtu ya biashara mbalimbali. Tutamkosa sana, tutasimama na yeye. Ni kuumiza tu wale ambao tumefanya kazi na yeye, tutashughulika so that we give him a decent send off.
Mimi kama majimbo nimepoteza my area MCA. Apart from being one of the MCAs in the constituency, he is a MCA ambaye mimi naamuka kwenda kupigia kura. We have lost a friend. March tutapanga, everybody is in deep sorrow, but we pray that the family and the area members of the area MCAs to unite, because this is their time. Actually, they have lost their colleague, and the governor has lost his closest. So we say pole. As a constituency, on behalf of the constituency ya Kabuchai, nasema pole.
Na wakati huu tujue tunamuomboleza mwenzetu kwa njia ya heshima. Jambo kuu ni kwamba mtu aliyesaliwa mpaka siku itafika na arudi kwa baba ambaye alimuumba. Sisi kama wenzake tumekubali yote ambaye imetendeka na tunamuombea safari yake kuwe salama. Mheshimiwa alikuwa ni mheshimiwa wa kukaa na watu na hivi sasa ametuacha. Taendelea kuongea mambo yake, lakini haswa kaunti ya Bungoma imepoteza mchapakazi, mtu ambaye anapojipima kitu anahakikisha kwamba anafanya. Kwa hivyo jamii ya Kabuchai Chwele, poleni sana. Familia, poleni sana.
Aliyelala ni ndugu yangu, mimi namfuata yeye. Na ndugu amekonjeka kwa muda mrefu ambao na amekuwa akitibiwa, baadaye ndiye ametuacha siku ya leo. Alikuwa akiugua ugonjwa wa saratani.
All right, let's check out the newspapers, the dailies today. We got the Star newspaper, the Standard, and the Daily Nation. So we start off with the Star. And this is what the headlines scream out. Audit unearths payslip crisis in the public sector. Does it mean we have ghost workers or what? Most affected are police, who have at least 36,600 staff. Then Kenya Pipeline, Kenya Power and Lighting Corporation, 1,101. She for NHIF, 625. And Judiciary, 551. Now, these are staff who are taking home less than a third of their gross pay. Why in the world are they taking home less than their gross pay? A third. In fact, it's an alarm as employees are said to go home empty-handed. Hey, Shaila. Justice at last for girls. 8 defiled by a 65-year-old man. Sasa surely. A 65-year-old man. Pata fana. That's a guy who needs a lot of help. Opposition on trial as camps field candidates in mini polls. Now this is going to be one of, the by-elections that are coming are going to basically paint a picture of how 2027 is likely to look like. Because you've got all these by-elections that are coming up, and opposition, I know, are determined to field all the candidates to try and take and to try and recover or to win the seats, to prove that the president is not popular. So if the president wins majority of this, it will be a big indictment on the opposition. Political baggage weighs down opposition 27 bid against Ruto. And then today is that day. You have MyGov. If you're looking for tenders from Serikal, utaipata kwa the Star. Then we have Odira fired up. Two-time national women's 800 champion eyes spark in Silesia ahead of Tokyo. Then we have the Nation newspaper. State House spy software dealer's passport revoked. Kenyan-Canadian Mary Washuka, who has sued 4 senior government officials, including the head of public service and the president's speechwriter, over a botched 123 million spying software deal, has protested that authorities have cancelled her Kenyan passport. She has linked the action to the high-stakes suit, alleging an attempt to twist her into dropping her claim. She ought to be happy. Hajaingizwa kwa Subaru. Ukiingizwa kwa Subaru, hey, you will wish that you just left the country chap. Then tycoons buy into 45 billion driving license contractor. Well-connected individuals have secured a stake in the company at the center of the 45 billion smart driving license project, raising fresh concerns over the growing footprint of politically connected individuals in lucrative public-private partnership ventures. The official records reveal Farid Abdulazak and Jabil Abdul Nazir, who have deep links to the establishment, acquired a combined 41.17 stake in the Pesaprint, the firm angling for the 22-year multi-billion shilling project. Iko maneno hapa. There is a problem. Kisikia hii maneno, there is a problem. Then we are looking at British soldiers' children. Mothers seek paternity recognition and aid. And I completely agree with them. If this Majoni, called Jonis, they've come into the countries and they've sired babies with Kenyan women, then left, and they're not taking care of their babies, well, they need to. At the same time, Kenyan women in those areas need to take care of themselves. Because these boys are just here to have fun. They're not interested in a serious relationship. So keep yourself. But definitely the men have to take responsibility for what they did. Then you have anaitwa Fidel Shama Omusula alias Charisma. This guy, Afro-pop singer and songwriter, he has sued the state over ban on online alcohol ads. I guess that's where he's been making his money, right? why a lawmaker is seeking referendum on affirmative action. Paul Mwangi, you remember, he's one of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's lawyers. He's seeking to sue the government over the affirmative action. Whether he has succeeded or not is $1 million question. Then Hustler Fund riddled with flaws. We did that story. It has a lot of flaws. Big Wig's $45 billion NTSA deal. Hey, Shivani. Then you have Sheikh makes sudden U-turn and abandons a problematic system. The OTP verification fails to provide better security and eliminate fraud. You know, you're dealing with cartels. These cartels are so entrenched, they will fight for every inch and every shilling. Kenya Moja Alliance threatens Ruto Gachagua power schemes. Then you have political analysts maintain that 2027 politics will still revolve around president and his estranged deputy president, despite the fact that you have the likes of Edwin Sifuna, more or less taking on their own political party, ODM. My prediction, I may be right or right. My predictions are by the time we get to 2027, Wiper will be part of the government. That's my prediction. Eyes on DPP as trader fights to recover 300 million property. Where? Then we have a guy called Mwita. He's a member of parliament. He's been charged with land fraud and was freed on a 10 billion bond. This guy is a former lands commissioner. And hey, alijipatia shamba, eh? Well, that's what these guys are saying. Then the back page of The Nation. Morocco coach rallies troops for tough Kenyan fixture. Group A, DR Congo plays Zambia next on Thursday as Angola await stars. Nasikia Angola ni noma. Angola ni noma. Eh? Hey. Alan is saying sisi ni wakali, but Angola chantoya alama ya mshangao. Then we check on the Standard, Jogoo House Wars. This is what I was telling you. The Standard says that there's a silent but escalating power struggle that is currently paralyzing the operations at the Ministry of Education, where a cabinet secretary, Julius Ogamba, is being openly contradicted by his two principal secretaries who seem to be too powerful. From fee guidelines to ghost school and curriculum policy, the confusion is deepening, leaving parents, students, and MPs questioning who is really in charge at the Ministry of Education. And what they allege, they've quoted what Gachagua was saying, that in certain ministries you have a CS and then you have PSS who are pro the government, very close connected, who are calling the shots, and the CS is simply a beautiful accompanying a chick for the wedding. Judge declines to withdraw from Nairobi Hospital leadership row. Court spells the end of Isiolo 60-year-old bar, a relic of Choma. Tough was rock education. Varsities VCs protest cost fee cuts as debt soar to 85 billion. You know, one of the things that I never understood about the deaths in the universities, because they started suffering. These guys made billions, hundreds of billions, when the parallel system was there, and they were buying buildings and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what happened. Why civil society, once Hustler Fund stopped, then KEBS deal with Japanese firms, firm for car inspection under scrutiny, then kaboom, the back page, Kenya calls for more after Chan debut victory. Harambee Stars will face Angola on Thursday at 7 p.m. Kenya are second in Group A with 3 points, same as Morocco. Okay. Well, that's it for the newspaper. At 9 a.m., we're going to be having Your Faith Today, where Reverend Kavoy is going to be hosting and talking about matters faith and matters God, encouraging the world to believe in the Most High God. All right? So don't go away.